Hey everybody, Alex here, doing a quick walkthrough video. It'll incorporate a lot of different aspects of how you use your device and how you run some of your programs and how you get set up. So the first thing to note is this is the front of the mobile device, the main home screen. And at the top here, this can sometimes look very similar in terms of Android type of buttons, even if you have a tablet. If you take your finger and you drag it down from the top, these open up different settings, okay? And see this little arrow down here too? Click that there. One thing we want to make sure is before you try to launch your Aoscan mobile software device, you'd want to make sure that it's connected, of course, to the internet. So in this case, this is mobile data. That's showing you your 3G, 4G, T-Mobile plan, and if you have it active or you don't have it active. In this case, it's grayed out and there's a line through it. So that means that it's not actually active. If you just click your finger on top of it, usually it'll give you a little option there. In my case, it's turned off because if you scroll over to the right, I happen to have airplane mode on. We all know what airplane mode is. So make sure that if that is on, you have to at least be connected on Wi-Fi for the program to work. And if you have airplane mode off, you have the option of using your mobile data through T-Mobile, and you have a SIM card inside the device for you to actually do that. It's always optional whether you want to use the mobile data or you want to actually connect. If you hit the little arrow button here on over the Wi-Fi, it's always up to you to choose if you'd like a Wi-Fi carrier in your area and select that and log in with the password. Pretty straightforward. And it's kind of the same method you would do with the computer. And so assuming then that you are connected to the internet, you can just scroll back up to roll up that menu, just by the way. Now that little icon right there on your tablet or your Android usually is showing you that in this case, it's connected to Wi-Fi. And I'm going to actually show you what it looks like when you are connected to your T-Mobile plan. Do you see that in the upper left-hand corner? How it switched to T-Mobile after I took airplane mode off? So we would definitely want to make sure that it says that. If it says anything else, that's a problem. It should say then something like 4G here. Sometimes you might be in the 3G area, but for the most part, it's just showing you your signal strength right there. So we'd want to either see that you're using or that. This is a sign, again, that you're on the internet. You can always test that if you're really just not sure about the app and what's going on. You see those little Chrome browser button here? This is actually what you can click on, and you can actually load up an internet address when you click on that. And that is, of course, one surefire way to see and make sure that is your data actually on. Just try navigating to any website, and if it loads it, that means you're connected to the internet. So that's a good first step. And then the next is to actually load your Aoscan software. So I already have it loaded. So normally you'll see a little scroll wheel. And the first time you load that up, sometimes it can take a minute, 2 minutes, just kind of depends. So just be patient with it. And then I would like to point out that when you first roll into your app software here, at the top here, it will normally have a thing that says guest. It will not have any sort of name or photo or anything like that. It'll just be blank. It'll say guest client or something like that. That means that nobody is loaded in there. And that simply means that all you need to do is log in. So what I'm going to do is actually log out here for you, just so you can see. So when you click on the app and you're trying to log in, it'll bring you to a screen like this. You actually just click on this right here. Okay, now we're on this page. We just simply keep scrolling down. Now, you don't need to register as a new customer because you have already registered. That's why you have your device. You have already purchased a membership. You got your subscription, hopefully. If you didn't get a subscription, which is a monthly payment, go into your main web store and go add that into the cart and check out. Otherwise, without the subscription, your app will not work. So what do we put here in the returning customer when we're trying to log into our software? We'll put our email address that we used to register when we first joined the company. When we purchased that membership, we used an email address and we used a password. You're going to use the same ones, okay? Now, after you type your information in there, it will automatically give you the option to save it, so you don't have to type it in every time. And now we'll get the scrolling as we attempt to load this. So again, you're using the same login info that you would have used to log into your back office at aoscanmobile.com, or maybe get into your web store, right? If you want to make a purchase, it's the same information. Now, if for some reason you just cannot log in with your information, maybe you have your password wrong, maybe you forgot it, something like that. You can always email admin at Aoscan or support at aoscan.com and just say, hey, can you reset my password? I just cannot get in. For some reason, can't log in. So now we're here on the home screen. Now, if you wanted to enter your info, you would click on this up here, or you wanted to enter a client's. This is where you do that. So it's kind of self-explanatory, new client versus existing client. If it is an existing client, I'll show you that one. I'll show you both screens. You would just simply, it'll scroll down and show you a bunch of names of clients you already put in here, or you can type it in and it will find it for you. Pretty straightforward. And then you can load up that existing client. Let's say you're new. So if, obviously you know your own information, but if it is, somebody else, you can just ask them to text or email you this info or tell you over the phone. And what do I want to show you on this screen? What I want to show you is just two things that sometimes trip people up. So if we go to birth date right here, when you click on that button, now you see the year up here, 2000. It would be best to actually just click your finger over the 2000. So just click the 2000. That allows you to actually scroll and set it to whatever you choose, okay? That's the fast way. If you click on anything else and try to go, it may start you from the year 1, and then you have to scroll all the way up. So it's a little more time consuming. So just click on the year. Sometimes that trips people up. And you see the little switch button here. What does that mean? That switches between two different camera views. This is just if you hit it once, that's actually me. You're looking at the ceiling, and then if you hit switch again. So remember, one mode is for a selfie, and one will actually show. I'm showing the computer screen. That's the camera facing away from you on the device. So if you want to take a photo of somebody, or maybe somebody emailed you a photo and you wanted to take a photo on your screen here, or take a photo of an actual photo or a cell phone photo, somebody texted it to you, that would be one way you could take and upload somebody else's photo. And doing a selfie, we recommend doing it from the neck up or asking the person for neck up photo with nothing in the background, just a plain background. That's important, okay? Now, if for some reason this is glitching out on you and just it's not switching the view or it's just not working or something like that, we usually recommend a good practice is the first time you log in here for any new client that you're putting in, or if you're updating your photo, the minute you load the screen here, immediately go to switch the camera view if necessary, and even swivel your camera horizontally once, go back, hit the switch camera before you enter any information. And this is usually a really good way if anybody happens to have any trouble with the views switching, any glitching or anything like that. So that's a little tip. Upload is pretty straightforward. If you have any pictures saved that somebody sent to you on your device, you can upload those people right from storage from your photos, and that's another way to actually get information. Once you've filled this all in, you'll hit the next button, and that'll take you, back to basically the home screen right here. Now, one thing, you see these navigation buttons here, home and back. These are really actually for any Android program on your device. So they work for anything. However, using these for some people can lead to like performance not being as optimal inside the app over time. We actually have a custom back button, which is kind of hidden and stealthy. It's actually this logo right here in the upper left-hand corner. So imagine I was like on this page for a second. If I click on that little logo up here, it takes me right back. So we always recommend using this as the back button. And that also will keep the performance of your device high, won't lead to any weird glitching or anything like that. So we usually recommend, that's a good practice to do. So this is the main home screen. Very easy to navigate. The quick scan, depending on when you're seeing this, it may or may not be available. I just clicked on it just to see if it was available. The update should be coming any week. Anyway, so we won't really talk about this one too much. I'll do actually a separate video on that. But that allows you to do something every single day, which analyzes your voice and let you know what supplements to use. And it kind of gives you something to do and listen to. And it prioritizes health-wise, you know, some different programs that you can run. It's a cool little function, and that'll be coming soon. Just so you know, this also is offline right now. That'll be available. That's a medical thermal infrared camera, and that may be available in a month or so, which just depends. There is also going to be another button for ultrasound attachment, and those are two separate attachments that don't come with the main system. You have to pay extra for these separate attachments if you want those. Anyways, this is the core of the system, though, right here, these functions. So inner voice, let's just roll into that one. This does a voice analysis, and this is your microphone. If you are attempting to record your voice or somebody else's for 10 seconds, and I'll just literally count down 10 seconds as you record, we usually recommend closing your eyes for the first 5 seconds, thinking about something that makes you feel very positive or happy or uplifted, and talking about that. And then the remaining amount of time doing something that's sad and stressful, thinking about something like that and talking about that. We want to kind of get a full spectrum of emotion, basically, and that actually will lead to a little bit of a better analysis. And this analysis will be a little more in-depth. I'm on basic mode right now, but you can actually zoom in and see a lot more screens related to the frequency and the magnitude and all kinds of interesting things that give you ideas of what's suppressed and what is stressed, and basically different octaves that you need to work on that are being affected, that are being picked up by your voice. This right here, that stands for Radionic Tones. These are bioenergetic tones that basically fill in the missing octaves that you need to work on, basically. Like we need to bring these guys back into balance here, probably. We need to bring up some of these. And that's incorporated into 4 audio tracks that you can listen to as much as you want by hitting the button right here and simply playing it. And that plays them. And we usually recommend using some good headphones or earbuds for getting a good audio quality. If you hit this little mailbox button, that is how you email the report or email the MP3 tracks. So you can listen to it, you can send it to somebody if you're working with another client. And so you don't have to listen to it on the device per se, is what I'm getting at here. So you can listen to it really on whatever. But they basically will give you, based on your analysis, 4 tracks that are arranged in the correct sequence that you need that day, that moment, to modulate whatever you're going through. We usually recommend people listen to this whenever they want to, but basically especially if they are starting their day off at the beginning, or maybe at the end of the day before dreaming, before sleep, or if you're having any kind of stressful or emotional moment, some sort of challenge, anything like that, and you want to rebalance yourself. It's a good time right then and there to reframe, retrain, and reprogram and retune that emotional pattern of some sort of experience that has triggered you. If we hit on the reports button right here, let's take a look. It's going to be a little bit smaller because of the screen that I'm using here. And it just basically will take you through priorities. So these are the first 3 that you can take a look at, and the last one is usually the ones that is the one that is most suppressed chronically. These other ones are a little bit more short term that you're overcompensating for. And a lot of this stuff is is almost subconscious. The emotions are usually functioning in the autonomic system, and that is really more in the realms of your subconscious. So if you're kind of so many times people do look at the first three charts, which is a little bit more short term, and usually sometimes more relevant to what's going on that day, that week, that moment. And sometimes it's a little spooky accurate in terms of what they go over in those reports. But if you do find things and you're just that are popping up consistently, and you're just wondering, gosh, I don't know, I just don't feel like this is really me. Just remember that this is very sensitive. It's picking up on things that are unconscious. Emotional patterns, mental patterns can be epigenetically passed on, even from your parents, your family. It can be influenced by your environment. About, I think it's 95 or some absurd amount percentage of the coding function of DNA is affected epigenetically by the environment. So it literally just could be the place you are living. It could be friends you're hanging out with, where you work, whatever it is. A lot of things can influence and create sort of stress patterns. And it depends on how you're dealing with those subconsciously with your autonomic system that can be tied to these results. So if you're wondering, like, gosh, this doesn't seem to fit with me, just remember, we're not always consciously aware of what some of these patterns can be. So this is the vital scan, and this is basic mode, or actually what I will show you is I do have a pro level on here. So that's 550 items with these master or major segments, but it breaks down into 550 items. It's a lot of scanning, and it's pretty simple. You would just literally hit the scan button right here, and it takes about a minute 15, minute 20, whatever it is, depending on the package that you get. So remember we mentioned the subscription package. That comes with basic, advanced, and pro, if you remember. And there's different price points for those monthly packages. The difference between the packages is covered in the brochure, and it's mainly just breaking down with vital and comprehensive, especially, and Cephi, which you'll get to in a minute, how many items you can scan in the body, and you can work on with optimizing with the frequencies, and also with Cephi, how many programs you have access to. So with Pro, as you could imagine, Pro is the higher cost. That has everything. It also comes with monthly updates that you automatically get. In terms of just updates that happen to your device, the way you know you're getting an update is pretty straightforward. When you log in, it will actually usually prompt you and it says, update available. Please restart your app. And you just restart the app. That's it. You don't have to do anything special. Next time you log back in, it'll have some change, and that's it. And you can start enjoying those changes. So I just did a scan, and you could see that was pretty fast. When you're doing a scan, we usually recommend wearing the bone conduction transducer headset. That will increase the accuracy and the efficacy of the optimized function, especially. If you're working with somebody remotely or you just don't happen to have that headset at the time being, then we recommend holding the device in the hand or holding it up to your ear, ideally, so you can hear the audio sounds. That will, again, increase the efficacy and the accuracy. If you're working remotely with a client, you can advise them, you can have them buy one of those headsets, bone conduction headsets, and plug it into their cell phone, and you can call them from your device. That would be one method. And if they don't have that, then you can also have them put their phone into their ear, and that will help as well. So now that we have scanned everything, you can hit the optimize. So I would like to point out that if you hit the reports button after you scanned, what will it show you? Okay, well, this is not going to be helpful because I've already done a scan. But basically, if you do a scan without doing optimize, what it would normally show you is it would show you the current scan, but it will not show you any changes. It will not show you any changes that occurred after you ran the optimization of the frequencies. So if you wanted to kind of like track, just you wanted to see how you were or how a client was without doing any sort of therapeutic modalities. And so again, not just this device, but anything also therapeutic. If you just wanted to see how they were, you just run a scan and that's it, okay? If you wanted to actually track how they're doing with other modalities, you could run a scan before and after those modalities. If you wanted to track how our optimize functions, optimizing all those different aspects, how that was helping them, well, you would hit scan, then you would do optimize frequencies. So it's now taking those 550 items or 130 items, depends what program or package you're on, and it'll basically also modulate those functions to become more optimum and within normal vibrational range for the various functions that this is tuned into. And we can dive into those reports on other videos, which you'll see that talk more about the reports. And we also have a brochure, educational brochure, that talks more about the reports. So basically, after we run the optimize right here, and because of the nature of how I'm recording this video, you can't actually hear the audio coming through, but there is actually an audio frequency component to each of these aspects that, if you're using the bone conduction headset, are actually being turned into vibration over your trigeminal nerve area on the sides of the head. And that conducts directly into certain regions in the brain, which is then distributed to the respective organs or the cells. So again, this is all information signaling in terms of what's going on here. So one thing to notice is after I hit optimize, this actually used to be a brighter white. I don't know if you can tell from my screen. It's easier to see on your device. You see how it's a little duller now than this one? That's because we just ran it. So usually when you look and it's like, oh, that looks dull. Oh, I must have hit optimize already. Sometimes you forget. So that was already run. And if you try to click on it, nothing happens. Oh, that means I already ran it. That's one way to tell. Oh, what if I want to do another scan right now? Oh, well, looks like I already performed one recently. So that's another little like helpful thing that pops up. You can usually do a scan about every hour. It's a long. We talk about it in other videos and other things that have been written up in articles, but there's no need to be usually doing another scan after an optimization like that so soon after. The body will respond for really like 24 to 48 hours, if not even longer. It just depends after you send the optimization of these frequencies in, because again, it's very information based. So the body will continue to make changes over quite a period of time. So if you ran a scan so soon after, it's just going to provide you a bunch of information that's in showing you that the body is in a state of change. It's flux. It's like chaos. There's all kinds of things changing. It's not really that helpful. You kind of generally want to track those changes over a longer period of time. That's what I would recommend. The only exception I could say is like if you want to use this as a assessment tool for other modalities. So maybe you like hit scan before a client did some sort of other modality, right? You did a scan and then you did that modality and then you just wanted to check back with them afterwards and see if anything had shifted based on that modality, or maybe you wanted to check back in a few days. You never even used optimize. You just wanted to scan them again when they came back to see how they did with some other modality. Some practitioners like that, or home users, they like tracking if other things are working for them, and they use this tool to do that. So that's the reports button again, where you can go through all the changes, and you can also email this to yourself always, or to a client or a friend, and it will automatically populate what was in the profile. Remember when we put in a new client and we put in the email address? That populates it. You can change that though. You can always email it to whoever you want. And then what should also be available, depending on when you watch this video, and we're right now in first week of December, very soon we'll have professional readers available that when you'll be able to email the full reports to them, and they can actually send you back a really comprehensive report that's easy to read and tells you what to prioritize, what to look for, and what to do. And they'll actually be able to do that on another scan that is coming with the Pro version that isn't quite available yet, called the Intelligent or Database Scan. And that can go up to 60 pages of comprehensive data, getting more into the causal factors behind a lot of what you see on the other scans. And our professional readers, for a pretty reasonable fee, can actually look at all of that data and send you a comprehensive report, which is really nice. And so we usually recommend people do that at least like once every couple months, once every 3 months, something like that. And then remember, we're going to hit the back button now to get back. Well, let me show you one more thing. You can always uncheck these. So if if you don't really care for some reason, I don't need any gastrointestinal information or nutritional, whatever, you can always select what you want scanned and optimized. You can choose. You don't have to do everything if you don't want to. To hit the back button, we hit the logo back up here, back to the main screen, go on to comprehensive. Same kind of thing. I'm really not even going to go through it. You just hit scan. It's pretty straightforward. You can uncheck whatever you want here. On basic, you have like 42 organs, something like that, or maybe it's 30 something, I forget. And then you got advanced and upwards of 130 organ systems once you get to Pro. And again, you can uncheck them. You hit scan, takes about a minute and a half, and then you can hit optimize after you're done with your scan if you want to, or optimize whatever you want here, depending. Same thing, email the report, check out the report. Cepheid is the next button we just clicked on there. Cepheid stands for Subtle Energy Imprinter. One thing to note is that after you run your scan and optimizations, if you hit imprint right here, you can actually take any of our wearables, which you can buy at the store, like the bracelet, the necklace, the foot insoles, which are made of very special materials, a combination of 2 key minerals that are very good at holding onto imprints of frequencies. And they get activated actually with UV and other rays from the sun, which you charge it up every couple weeks. It's fascinating material, interesting studies. But basically, we use that for imprinting all of the frequencies that you have obtained from the comprehensive, the vital, and other scans that are coming soon. And you can encode or imprint those into anything you want: homeopathic remedies, tinctures, objects, gemstones, and you place it right on the top. You place it on the top screen, hit start, and that will transmit right here. I don't know why it's not showing it moving. There we go. It'll transmit all of those therapeutic frequencies that were found from the scans into whatever you choose. Okay. So you could imprint things and give them to friends, if you're working with somebody remotely or they don't have a chance to do the device in person or whatever, over the phone. It's nice to work with the frequencies, with the wearables. I highly suggest it. People get great results. And you can make remedies also this way. And remember, anytime you are wanting to input or imprint frequencies into something with one of the programs, you put it on the top. You put on what you want to imprint. So it could be a gemstone. It could be sugar pills. It could be whatever, put on the top. What's the bottom for? Well, the bottom is if you're making a copy of something. Like I have a medication, or I have a supplement, or an herb, or another homeopathic remedy. I put that down here, 1 dose, just 1 dose of it, and I put what I am copying this into. So I use like sugar pills once again, or maybe the wearables, something like that, I would put up here. So what you're copying down here, copying or imprinting into up here. Takes 20 seconds. That's it. Pretty fast. Before you imprint something, an object or whatever it is, we usually recommend hitting the erase button. There's a lot of different things. It's back to epigenetics. All these sorts of different, and it's kind of more of a physics explanation. We're not going to get into it. But basically, your environment, the environment and frequencies, especially nowadays with electrosmog, they can imprint upon different objects quite easily. And who was holding the object, or if it was being shipped or mailed, there's all kinds of things, where it's being stored. So this right here, if you place right here for 20 seconds or 30 seconds, whatever it is, the object that you're going to imprint, you clear it first. So whatever you're imprinting into, you put it right there and you clear it. then you're ready to actually imprint. So let's go over that again. With the imprint button, you can use that to copy and make other remedies, copy things, and turn it into a homeopathic type of remedy. But you can also, after you run the scans, remember the vital, the comprehensive, maybe the quick scan, that you run the optimization. If you go right after those scans over into imprint, and you put what you want to imprint into here, especially the wearables, which is good, you can take all of the frequencies that were used in the optimization and you can put that into whatever you want. So it's a good way to basically keep on working with all of the frequencies in here in between sessions. So you can actually go a little bit longer between sessions if you're having one of the wearables, or you're putting it in water, and by the way, normally structured water. You want to make sure your water is pure first, and then structured, and then it can pot, and then it's better at carrying the actual frequencies. Just a little tip. So now we'll move on to quantum reach. So these down below, we'll just briefly touch on them, but there's going to be a couple more added in here. This is on basic mode, so these aren't active yet, but these should be active like any week now, all of them. Depending on when you're watching this video, these may already be highlighted and active. Quantum reach right here, you can kind of choose any of these different qualities, and anything in the Cephi program, you don't need the internet. So this is a purely radionic part of the device. So again, you do not need the internet for basically sending any of the Cephi programs, any of them, to whoever is up here. Okay, so whoever is up there, you can send it to anytime, any place. 2 minutes, continuous, however long you want to run it. If you want to imprint some object once again, or something with some of these qualities, you can actually put them right there, right on top of that screen. Quantum frequency, you can choose the different conditions, and you can transmit those by hitting play frequency. There's also audio frequencies that are paired with this as well. It's not just audio. There's other frequencies that are coming through the device, actually. But there is also an audio component. Some people like to listen to it with the bone conduction. It's optional. It still works quite effectively with the device. And it can work remotely, again, just as effectively. And we've tracked that for years now. It's actually incredible how it works. And there is a whole science behind it if you really want to dive into that. So we can hit stop. People will run this for 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 minutes, hours. It's kind of up to you on what type of results the person is getting. Let's go back to the Cephi again. Quantum frequencies, quantum affirmations, you can take any phrase, any affirmation, any of any language, and actually will turn it into a different form of energy. To not get too deeply into it because it's a little complicated, you have to imagine that when you speak into a phone, when your voice is actually transformed into an algorithm that is in a different format, waveform, that travels through the airwaves longitudinally to towers, sometimes satellite, but usually towers, and we'll actually make it to the other side. It actually is turned into a different form of wavelength energy, and it actually goes from sound that you can hear, right? Like when you're speaking, and it turns it into something that isn't sound, a different form. So you have to imagine that other form, interestingly, that can be broadcast out, and it can be broadcast to yourself or whoever, and it can actually influence the function of cells and epigenetics. Okay, so we're talking DNA, RNA, epigenetics when I say that. You can actually influence and affect your body, your mind, your emotions by transmitting sound, language in a different form. Okay, so there's a lot to it. It's probably the most simple way we can touch on right now for the sake of the video. So it's a powerful way to just amplify your affirmations. These are more like Bach flower remedies, very traditionally well-known homeopathic remedies that work quite well. These are good ones to pair with the information you learn from the inner voice analysis. Acoustic wave generator, this is more like rife types of frequencies. So if you're finding pathogens in your scans and you basically want to target those pathogens, you can do so with this. And you can do some other cool things too as well. And this can be transmitted. There's one way to do it remotely, and there is another way to do it with a device, audio-wise, and there's a way to do it also with a plasma tube, which if you're familiar with Rife, R-I-F-E-E, you can look that up. There's a way of sending different types of frequencies that are capable of resonating or vibrating to death different sorts of pathogens. But you can also do therapeutic types of things to stimulate certain tissues that even have a regenerative capacity. So there's more to it than just killing pathogens and viruses or whatever in the body. But that's what you do with this. There's a lot more to this. You can track these pathogens in different parts of the body, which is really helpful. And then you can find out if they are hiding from you or if they have not been fully cleared out. And then you can target them with this. This is working on your chakra system. We have a good article on this. You'll be able to see soon about what the chakras are, but you can look at that. That's it's a lot to explain in terms of the type of energy that downsteps in your body to become electrical or magnetic, and how that influences the nervous system, how it's connected to the meridians. There's a lot to it, but there's ways of working on these different systems. This is also good to use after looking at your reports in your inner voice analysis. That will actually help guide you. And there's some other scans as well that get into belief systems that you can then know what types of chakras you want to work on that are tied to those beliefs or those emotions, things like that, or even your organ systems. These are interconnected with different organs also. Homeopathics is just a mix of homeopathics that have been uploaded to this. We have a list of 1,900 energetic remedies also for practitioners that are different sorts of energetic equivalents of medications, medicines, drugs, things like that, and they work quite well. And then this is actually our own custom private label of a homeopathic line as well. One other thing that you'll see in here soon is a supplement where you can upload your supplements that you're taking, and you can do analysis, and you can see what supplements would be good for you that moment or that day. That's a really, really nice function. And we have some more exciting functions coming as well. Is there anything else that we need to show for this? So let's hit the back button here. That should be it for the basic walkthrough. If, again, you're having any sort of challenges or anything like that, you can check the FAQ master document. That is really a great training manual also. It covers all kinds of different things that you can learn about. There's helpful videos on YouTube on our main channel. We also have a Facebook group. If you just go under groups under Facebook, and then you do a search for Aoscan Mobile Founders Official Group, or just Aoscan Mobile Official Group, you should be able to pull it up. And there's a few other groups on there as well that were started by a couple sponsors. But the official group is where you can get some announcements and ask training questions and all that kind of stuff. You'll also get a lot more of these announcements and information in your back office as well. And we have a new back office platform also, or it may already be out depending on when you're watching this video, where you can also get a lot more helpful information and get access to trainings and things like that. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. If you see this on YouTube, you can leave questions in the comments below. Or if you're seeing this in your back office, you can send an email to your upline in your mailbox. And you're always welcome to ask your sponsor, whoever introduced you to this technology, any sort of questions. We do also have weekly Zoom meetings that you can hop on, and an official company Zoom presentation that they usually do on Wednesdays around 7:30, somewhere around then. Anyways, thanks for watching.